Hey everyone, welcome to our first keynote by Vijay Gautam. Vijay is the co-founder of Wine Studio and also the host of The Inspiring Talk, a chart-topping podcast from India. Wine Studio is now a content production company that Vijay has co-founded with his other co-founder, and he is also one of India's foremost proponents of podcasting. Like I remember Vijay reaching out to me for the first ever virtual meetup, which was something like this that we did, 2 or 3 years back, and that was the first time that I realized the power of community and the power of being surrounded by people who are doing similar things and are as motivated as you. I'm not going to take away much more time with the introduction. So, Vijay, over to you.
Thank you, Naga. Thank you so much for having me here. So, can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see the screen? Just type yes on the chat box if you guys can see me, if you guys can hear me, and if you guys can see the screen all well. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I can see Binit, I can see Supriya, Siddharth. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So I can see Aditi from Koni podcast, Anjali, Shiv Guru. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and really excited to be here to be sharing this. And as Naga said, the first virtual event that we ever started in 2017, the idea was that all of us are creating podcasts, and all of us are doing that in isolation. Do we even have the community? And it's a commendable job that these folks at O2 Pod are now doing with a lot of physical meetups before the corona, and now with this one. This is awesome. So without any further delay, let me quickly take you guys through. So Naga asked me to, he told me that this is going to be the session for a lot of newbies and people who are just getting started with the podcast. So I'll try and share my 15 tips to create podcast that your listener want to listen. So these are some of the things that I have learned along the way. So let me take you straight into this. So thanks again for joining me here. Really excited to have you all here. So 2017, I started my podcast. I worked as a research scientist, and that's when I realized, this is not what I want to do in my life, and I had no clue what I need to do in my life, what I should be doing in my life, and that's when I was looking for answers on what should I really be doing with my life, and I thought the best way to get answers is by asking people who have already accomplished what they did in their life and how they made it. So with that thought in my mind, I started the podcast, The Inspiring Talk, where I would interview people. And at that time, there were not so many podcasts in India who, in the personal transformation space. Got started with the show, and then I realized, this is exactly what I want to do next. This is what I want to continue doing, which is just have conversation with people week after week and learn from them. Been podcasting for 3 years now. In 2019, we started our own podcast production company called Wine Studio, and with me and a co-founder of mine. So again, I did these podcast workshops in Himalayas where I would take people for a 3 days podcast workshop, and that's where I met my co-founder. She was pretty much interested, in the content space as well, and then we combined the forces together to form the Wine Studio. So we create 3 shows currently. So Heroes of the Pandava is a fictional shows that we do, and Stuff Tales is a show about everything that you need to know about the things that we use on a daily basis, and Can Inspire, hosted by XRJ with Radio Mirchi, Pallavi Rao. It's a podcast about critical illness where Pallavi brings guests who have been through or who are battling the critical illness. All right, so that's pretty much about me. Let's get started with the 15 tips to get your to create the podcast that would be enjoyed by your listeners. Are you guys excited? Just type excited on the chat box. I'd love some engagement on the chat box. All right, super. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. All right, let's get started. So the first one is start with why. Now, if I come across a lot of people who come to me, to learn podcasts or ask generally or connect some of the new podcasters. And the question that's generally asked is, hey, which microphone do I buy? Which software do I use? And so on and so forth. And I always tell them, those are the easier things to figure out, because it's just like a one Google search away which mic to use and which software to use. And that's often not the difficult part to figure out. But what I'm going to share with you in the next first 3 points, these are something that I truly feel that every new podcaster, or even if you have been podcasting for a while and if you don't have clarity of the next 3 things that I'm going to talk about, you should really be thinking about it. Maybe go back to drawing board and try and figure out these 3 things. So the first question is why. Now, for me, when I do anything, it's super, super important to know why do I want to do what I want to do, right? So now, and the same goes with podcasting as well. When you are starting a podcast, it's very important for you to know why. And the reason why you need to understand why do you want to do it is that's something that's going to keep you going. That's something that's going to motivate you to produce episode after episode after episode, right? So when I did my podcast for the first 6 months, barely anyone listened to that show. And, the thing that was extremely driving me during that period was that I want to learn from these people. And that was something that was happening. And everything else, did not even matter that much. Like even 20 people listening to an episode, that really did not matter. And what mattered was, this is what I want to do, and this is my reason for doing it. So, and also, like, we see there are more than 1 million podcasts globally, almost 1.25 million podcasts right now. And if we really look at podcasts that are actively producing podcasts, those would be less than 50%. We have 350 to 400,000 podcasts that are producing episodes. And you can attribute a lot of that to not having clarity of why even you want to start a podcast. Technology makes it easier today to create a podcast with the apps. You can download on your phone and you can become a podcaster. Before I wrap up my, even the third point, right? Literally in a couple of minutes, you can be a podcaster. But, this is probably, one of the things that you really need to have clarity of. Why do I want to do it? Because you're going to put your time, efforts, energy, money, and resources into doing this. And there's no point doing it unless, you have a clarity of your why. Is it to get access to your, to people who otherwise you would have never access to? Or is it because you want to build a personal brand, or you want to learn it, or, whatever your reason is, just try and figure out your why. So that's the first point here. And the second one is, this is again, I if somebody asks me, Bijay, tell me what is the most important thing that I should know if I'm starting a podcast, then this has to be it. Now, so unless you know who your audience is, here are the few things, right? Unless you know who your audience is, you don't know what are the problems and challenges of your audience is. And when you don't understand the problem and challenge of your audience, you will never be able to serve your audience. And when you are not serving your audience, you are not giving enough reason for your audience to come back and listen to you. So this is another very, very important and critical question that you should be asking yourself, like, who is my show for? And the better understanding that you have about your audience, the better you would be able to serve your audience. And unless you have understanding of your audience, you are never going to serve your audience the way you would like. And that's the reason why people wouldn't want to come back to your show, because you don't understand your audience. And I see a lot of existing creators, even the creators who have been podcasting for a while, they are doing all different sort of podcast, different sort of episodes. And then when you closely see what is the theme of the podcast, and then you realize a lot of the episodes are done without thinking who my audience is and what is the problem and challenge my audience might be going through, and how can probably my podcast serve them. So that's like a super, super important thing for you to understand who your audience is, what are the problem and challenges of the audience that I'm trying to address on my podcast. That's the second one. Now, also a lot of people think, oh, but why? I mean, my podcast can be listened by everyone, and it's a very popular on the authors community, where they say if you say that your book is for everyone, then know that it's for no one. And same goes in the podcasting as well. If you don't know who your podcast is for, or if you say it's for everyone, then it's probably for no one. So try and get that clarity. So that's the second one. And the third one that you need to have absolute clarity of is, what's your blue ocean? What's your USP? Now, with a lot of podcasts that are being created in India, we still have a long way to go when it comes to creating a lot of content. But again, we are adding a lot of shows after shows, right? And every other person that you meet might have this idea to interview really successful entrepreneur and ask them the similar questions, and then do a same interview based podcast and then put it out, and then call it as a new podcast, right? But is that really going to help you? Because everyone else is doing the same. You have the same guest, you have the same content, you ask the same questions, and you are doing the same format. Then how you are going to separate yourself from a lot of existing podcasts out there? How you're going to stand out from the noise? That's another critical question that you need to ask yourself before you ask about anything. If you are in the process of creating your podcast, or even if you have been creating a podcast, then you can ask yourself, if you have been thinking of pivoting, then I think this is another thing that you can ask. Hey, how can I make my show unique? Is it from the perspective of, hey, I want to probably change the format of my podcast, or hey, I want to change, I want to go more deep into the niche, right? So either you can do a podcast where you can say this podcast is for all the marketers, or you can say this is the podcast for just digital marketers, for instance, or maybe digital marketers interested in just using Google tools, or maybe just Facebook tools, whatever it is, right? And I think the brilliant example to that is we have a next session coming up right after this. Is Sandy and Sunny do have this podcast called Biker Radio Broadcast, and they do know what the USP is, and they have found their community, right? And then they are serving that community. So I think that's super important for you to define your own blue ocean. And when you do that, then it's really you then are really serving the community, right? So that's the third one. The fourth one is create visuals that stands out. So a lot of so always understand that the first touch point for your listeners to listen to your podcast is never an audio. The first thing, okay, the first touch point for your audience is always the visuals, right? Whether they see on the podcast apps when they're browsing, or even on your social media and stuff. When your visual stands out, that makes your audience to come and check your show out. That's the first thing. Like even if you have shows, like imagine this. Think about you visiting any podcast app for the last time, right? Maybe Spotify or Castbox or JioSaavn or Apple Podcast or whatever platform. And let's say you wanted to listen to a podcast on parenting, right? Once you type parenting and you had all this list of the shows that showed up, what are the first thing that you noticed? It was not the description of the show. It was not even the name of the show. What you noticed first is the artwork. And that is like super important thing for you to keep in mind, because your artwork is something that really that really brings your audience to your podcast channel, right? And obviously, so that's super important. So create visuals that really stand out. That's the fourth. Right. So fifth one is, as I said, in the beginning, that while the technology makes it super easy for all of us to be podcaster right now, right? As I said, like before we even wrap this session up, anybody can be podcaster just by downloading an app on their phone. And what that also does is, people assume that because it's easy, then it's totally okay to put out the whatever content is, and people will listen to it. Unfortunately, you can do that probably with the videos, but that's not the case with audio, because when somebody is listening to you on their headphones, you can't really mess up with the audio quality. If there's a dog barking, or your child, crying, or whatever the audio quality is there, or your guests, internet is like really shaky, and there's barely anything that your audience can understand, that's really going to dilute the whole experience. And probably and if it's like a once in a while, and a lot of listeners, if you have been adding a lot of value, they are quite forgiving in that sense. But if this is something that occurs over and over again, then you can't expect someone to come back again and again and listen to it, even if like you have like extremely good content. A lot of people say that if you have extremely good content, then quality doesn't matter, audio quality doesn't matter, but it does. So if you are really serious about this, and if you really want to take this to the next level, I would highly encourage that you spend in the quality audio equipment, because that's when you will start. And also, like that's another way of saying that put in the money. And when you put in the money, then you probably would be more serious with this, right? So yeah, fifth, don't mess with the audio quality. spend in the quality equipment, right? The sixth one is spend on the quality tools. So this is something, a lot of conversation that happens around, at least in India at this point of time, when not a lot of people are making money from the podcast, is to find the free solutions and options to alternative tools where we can save those extra dollars, few dollars there. But unfortunately, with a lot of these tools that comes for free, there is one thing or another that really messes up with the quality of the audio, right? So whether you are if you are doing the remote interviews, then I would highly recommend that you spend on the quality tools, right? Whether that's Squadcaster, Zencaster, or even for the hosting of your podcast, use the platforms and services that where you can have control of everything about your show, so that no one else either owns your content or controls your content. So it's always good to spend on quality tools, instead of saving those extra bucks to to just go through the whole pain of, if it's like, let's say, remote interviews tool, then you will see a visible difference between the audio quality that you get from one of these tools meant for virtual calls recording versus free tools, for instance Zoom and so on and so forth, right? So it's always good to spend on quality tools, because that significantly improves your audio quality. So that's the sixth. The seventh one is listen more than you speak. So this is something that I always tell tell people, that podcast is more about listening than speaking. And this is something that I always tell people, that a lot of people, because it's because we don't really have the feedback system that provides that's provided with the podcasting apps, except for those Apple reviews or some comment box on some of the apps. We don't really have a place where you get instant feedback from your audience, and all you see is just those numbers. So it becomes extremely important for you to go ahead and it becomes extremely important for you to step up and start interacting with your audience and start listening to what they have to say, right? Every time somebody comes to you and say, hey, I love that podcast episode, that was really great, don't just jump on the floor and say, yeah, I got a new fan. But instead, go turn back and ask them, hey, I really appreciate that. What is it that you like, what did you like most, and what is something that you'd like to hear more, and who do you like to see as a guest on the show? And this is something that I do as a practice every single time somebody writes to me on Instagram or Facebook or tweets or me, or maybe sends an email, whatever it is. I always turn back or even ask them to fill the feedback form. So I have set up a feedback form asking, like, do you find the episodes are longer, or do you think, like, the format is good? Who do you like to see more? What do you like to hear more? So it's not about that you figured out your audience at the beginning and then you know who your audience is, and then it's just that you can continue doing it over and over again without understanding how your audience is evolving. So I have realized in the past 3 years that my own audience has evolved a lot over a period of time. And then when your audience evolved, then the same kind of content will not work over the period of time. You need to constantly upgrade your content and make tweaks as your audience evolves. So this is like super important step. If you have been podcasting for a while, listen what your audience have to say, and and then implement those feedbacks and try and constantly add those pointers in your show. All right, so that's the seventh one, and the eighth one is create content bank. Plan well in advance. So a lot of us, we are running, deadline to deadline, where if we have to like release the episode on Monday, then a lot of us are recording on Saturdays or Sunday, and that really messes the whole thing. And then if you don't have the content bank, it's always good to plan the content bank well in advance. As I said in the point number 7, when you listen to your audience, just constantly have that feedback and what I do personally is create an Excel sheet of all the different feedback and interesting observation that my listeners share, so that I can go back and refer to that every single time I'm sitting down to create, think about who are the next guests that I can bring on the show based on the feedback, and what are the different topics that I want to cover on my show. And that really helps. And having a content bank in place and well in advance, that really helps you plan according to what your listener wants. So that's the point number 8. Now, this is I get a lot of people who who say that, hey, you know what, I want to have so and so as a guest, and this is like a big shot, and so on and so forth. And also think about, okay, this is what I want to put it out there. And oftentimes, what you think is what your listeners want to listen is not what they want. And how would you know that? Is by going back to point number 7, which is to listen more than you speak. So that when you are constantly listening to your audience, then you realize that it's not about me. And also, if you do an interview-based podcast, it's not also about your guests. It's always about your listeners. And a lot of people think that, hey, you know what, I had this so-and-so guest, but the interview did not go well. And what do I do now? The simple answer to that is discard that interview. If you think that re-recording that interview will fix things up, then reschedule it. Otherwise, just don't publish. As simple as that. And a lot of people think, but you know what, I just took that time from that guest, right? But again, just always remember that it's not about you, and it's not even about your guest. It's always about your listeners. And when you keep the listener on the top of everything, then your content will always serve your audience, and they want to come back over and over again and listen to you. So I mean, this is something that so again, like I love what Naga does, not to land in the place where you have to discard that interview. He does something called as pre-interview. So what I would want you guys to do is, if you want, like, maybe just get on a phone call with a guest for 5 to 10 minutes before the interview date, so that you understand what they have on mind, and also understand if they are articulate and they can put their thoughts in the way that you'd like, or not. If that's not the case, then you can politely refuse them rather than interviewing and discarding the interviews, right? But I know that this is like a really tough thing to do for a lot of people, but I have done that with with extremely popular people whom I had interviewed for my show, and then I realized they were not into the conversation 100%. And when I sensed that, like, I never published those episodes. I mean, if I had just said that, hey, I had interviewed so and so person, that might have given some eyeball saying that, oh, crazy, I mean, he's interviewing all these cool people. But when you go and listen to that episode, there is nothing for you as a listener. So what's the point of getting the eyeballs when there is nothing, there's nothing for the audience, right? So I mean, it's a tough one, but I can't stress enough on always keeping your audience on the mind. So every single time, and I love, I had this conversation with, Writer and Geek. I think Shankar and Vishnu are here. At one point, there's a good mixture of, these brothers, right, who do Writer and Geek podcast. One of them is like extremely logical. I don't know who's what. It's been a while since I had that conversation with them, almost over a year and a half. So one of them is extremely logical, and another is, more of into creative side, right? So I think it's Shankar who always thinks from the perspective of what is it that my listeners is getting out of this conversation? What is the valuable point? Like, what are the things that my actionable points that my audience, is going to go back and implement in the life? So I think that's also another way to look at, when you are having someone as a guest on your show. Yep. And the 10th one, obviously, is pick the right guest, right? I think I also mentioned about that in the last point as well. But so right guest does not necessarily mean the popular guest, or the guest who has got a huge following. A lot of people ask me, Vijay, do I always need to look for someone who is extremely popular? But I think it is a mix of having a popular guest and not so popular but who are extremely good with their content. So I think it's a if you can like balance that, because when you have somebody who's extremely popular on your show, that that really helps you in marketing your show. And when you go ahead and want to bring other popular people, that really helps you, because you can then tell them, hey, I had so and so as well, so that it's easier for you to get yes as an answer from the other people, right? At the same time, because you had some popular person, you don't have to wait for another popular person to be guest on your show. Like, you don't need like all A-listers every single week on your show, right? So it can be a good mix of having somebody who's popular and having somebody who is like really talented and expert in the topic. So that's something. Also on the other thing, like, you can see if they're articulate, if they fit the kind of show. Like, for me, I get a lot of people from the organizations who are CXOs of a lot of big companies and so on and so forth. They keep reaching out to me saying that, hey, would you like to interview our CXO, chief technical officer, and so on and so forth. But I politely say no, because my show is all about inspiring people who have taken the unusual route in their life, right? And then the people who might be, I don't care like how popular the guy or gal is in the certain organization, because that doesn't fit means that doesn't fit, right? So you always need to make sure that you are picking the right guest who fits the kind of audience that you have, and who has got the message that your audience want to hear. All right. So 11th is use the headlines that makes them want to listen to you. Obviously, now we are moving towards more from the perspective of publishing it when you are putting the episode out. I think the great way to think about this is from the perspective of the outcome. Like, what is the outcome that my listeners gonna get after listening to this podcast episode? For instance, one of the most listened episode of my show is called I Quit My Job and You Too Can, right? And probably a lot of people could relate to that. And also, second, it says there's something called as You Too Can, which means like there's an outcome. The headline is created from the perspective of what's the outcome that you're going to get after listening to this episode. So use the headlines in a way that really excites your audience. And that's one, from the outcome. And also another way to think about headlines is from the perspective of biggest pain points or problems that you think your listeners have right now. And if you put those problems and pain points as a headlines, then that really adds a that really get people to click on your episodes. But after they click, don't mislead them, right? So this is absolutely not gonna help you. While I'm saying, like, headline plays like a really important role for people to go and click that episode. And if you have guests on your show, sometime, like, if you have like popular guests, then just having the name of a guest is the front loading. If you just front load the name of the guest in the beginning, that really so somebody says, like, what's the difference between clickbait and a catchy headline? So clickbait is where you are just putting the headline, and after somebody goes and listen to the podcast, the podcast has got nothing to do with what you have shared on the headline. But when I say catchy headline, I mean like represent whatever you have included or covered in your podcast in a way that really excites people, right? So I know there's a thin line between saying that don't miss clickbait versus having a catchy headline. But again, don't mislead your audience. Don't put the headline in such a way, like, you can see people saying all the thing like this is the complete whatever, right? So you, after listening to this podcast, you will never have to work, kind of a stuff, right? So all this sort of stuff, just don't mislead your audience with all this information that doesn't absolutely either there is nothing about that on your show, or it's completely, it has got nothing to do with what you are claiming that that you're going to do on this show. Yeah. So all right. So now the 13th here is be consistent, right? So this is probably one of the things that that really helps you get your audience. So usually a lot of listeners, like as I said, I do that survey for my listeners. A lot of them have said, we listen to your podcast on our Sunday walks, or on certain thing that I do on Saturdays, or certain thing that I do on a weekly basis, and that's when I listen to your podcast. And when somebody listens to a podcast and it's part of their habit, and all of a sudden, there is no episode and there is nothing, then and if it's something that you do on a regular basis where you are not consistently putting episodes, then that's really not going to bring your audience back again and again, right? So while I say consistent, I'm not saying that you have to do it weekly or you have to do 2 episodes a week. Whatever frequency that you have committed to, whether that's 2 episodes a month or 1 episode a month, or a weekly show, whatever it is, but stay consistent with your episode, because when you are consistently putting your episode out, obviously, number one, you are getting better and learning a lot every single time, and the more you create, the more you learn, right? And also, second, it kind of fits into your audience's schedule, and that really helps you in building that connection with your audience on a regular basis, right? So the 13th and the 14th and experiment. Don't be afraid to spice things up. So a lot of people think, hey, but you know what? I wish to share the insights that I have, but mine is an interview-based show. Hey, mine is a solo podcast, but I want to interview someone, but I'm not sure how will my audience perceive it. So I always tell, like, as long as the content is valuable to your audience, as long as you think that this is the kind of content that your audience is going to enjoy, then they won't mind, even if you are experimenting with the different formats, right? Because your content, your audience is there for the content, and it doesn't matter, it really on how you put that content out, as in, like, whether that's the interview or whether it's something that you want to share yourself, right? So I think that's something that you can that's the sorry so yeah, so just don't be afraid to spice things up and experiment, right? So that's the 14th, and the last but not the least, and most important one probably, is be you. No point creating copycat. So a lot of new creators, especially, or people who are looking at getting into podcasting, one of the questions that I get a lot is, hey, you know what, I want to do a podcast first, but I don't know how to speak like a RJ, or hey, I want to start a podcast, but I don't think I have a good voice, right? So the whole point is podcast is supposed to be more casual and candid medium as compared to the traditional media. And unless you are doing the storytelling podcast or narrative shows where that plays like a super important role in the whole story. But if you are doing the conversational podcast, or if you are doing the interview based shows, or even if you are doing the solo podcast where it's more of a information kind of a show, it doesn't really matter a lot. You can just use the regular conversational tone and you will just get away. You will just do fine. So like in the beginning, when I was just starting podcast, I would try to copy different RJs and so on and so forth. So that is something that I would do, and then over the period of time, I realized that I was becoming more and more comfortable to be myself on the podcast. And when I started being more and more of myself, and when I was comfortable putting my own flaws out on the podcast, and this is the hardest thing for a lot of people to do, is to put their flaws out, right? And when you really start doing that, what happens is the people who still find the value in your content, they are still going to be there, and these are going to be like your super audiences, the audience who absolutely love the content that you create and who are getting a lot of value out of you. So again, and also with regards to the recorded voice, like nobody loves the recorded voice, and everybody who is at least most of the existing podcasters who have been podcasting here for a while, if I ask them to go back the first time they heard themselves they're on recorded voice, I'm sure a lot of them agree that we hated the voice. So yeah, that you are not alone in that, but you will get past that after you record and you keep hearing your own voice. So you will get past that. So yeah, so just be you, and there's no point creating a copycat. All right. So that was the 15th, and that's also, I'll open the floor for the question and answer session. If you guys have any questions, that's all from my side. Just put on the chat box if you guys, if you guys liked those pointers that I've shared. Maybe you can express it in a few words, or maybe just a word. All right. So somebody says a low need for approval versus content for audience. How do you balance? Has low need for approval, but being them is where you create the content for your audience. How do you balance or not? I think that's a really interesting one, right? Where you want to be yourself, and at the same time you wanna really serve your audience as well, right? I think that's a great point. But again, think about this from a second, right? So when I say you don't need so from the perspective of approval, you see, when you are creating a content, what your listeners are looking for on a podcast, which usually is not the case with radio, is the factor of relativity, right? So where people can relate to you, because when you are sharing your experience, and when you are talking about your own life, or your guest shares the story, then a lot of the reason people want to stick to the show is because there's something that they can relate to, right? Oh, I mean, this guy is just like me. I mean, he's no different, right? So, it's not aspirational. It's like a realistic, right? So when you do that, and when you put your authentic self, you don't really need that approval. But that doesn't mean that if you don't need approval, doesn't mean that it's not something that your audience is going to enjoy it, right? So the more you accept yourself, and the more you be who you are, maybe let me put it this way, you will attract the kind of audience that you really want to speak with, because these are the people who resonate with what you have to say the most. All right, so if you guys have any questions, we'd be happy to answer. Okay, there are some questions on the where to find the visuals and art craft, some sources. So for the visuals, you can use, if you're looking for the images and stuff, there are free sites like Unsplash and Pexel, Pexel.com. So you can do that. So also, you can simply, I think, use the tools. So I don't remember. So what the tool where you can find a lot of artwork, but you can just do the simple Google search, and you can probably find place to artwork. My show is on Anchor.fm already, and I don't have a lot of control there. What can I do? So when you say you don't have a lot of control, what exactly do you mean that you don't have control on Anchor.fm? But you can always change the host, right? So that's now super easy to move from one host to another without losing your listeners. So you can look for alternatives. Yeah. So Indian Woman says, my wonderful tips as always. I have a question on how crucial social media marketing is for increasing podcast audience, plus your thoughts on enabling podcasts in YouTube, as YouTube seems to be more popular. Hands down, if you can do YouTube, like I would highly recommend everybody to be on YouTube right now, because if you see like some of the biggest shows out there, not in India, but if you look at the global scale, right? Like Joe Rogan, right? So Joe Rogan is more popular on YouTube. I mean, obviously he's popular on, he's the number one podcaster, one of the biggest podcasts in the planet, but also a lot of this could be attributed to his accompanying YouTube channel, where a lot of people discover him, and then when they want to listen to him on the audio, and then they migrate to Spotify and podcast listening platform. So if any of you are doing the interview based podcast, and if you think you can record the video and put that video out on YouTube, that's absolutely gonna add a lot of audience to your show. So I would highly recommend to do the YouTube thing. But also the other way to do is, again, taking the example of Joe Rogan, you can do the same thing, just putting those clips on social media, right? So you can use the smaller clips, and then put those clips on social media, or maybe as IGTV, or you can maybe put the whole video on the YouTube, or the clips on the social media as well. So especially for the people who are interviewing guests, one thing that I see a lot of podcasters are not leveraging is the guest network. So if you do have, if you have interviewed people on your podcast, then make sure that you leverage the guest network, because they do have like massive following, and if you can leverage their following, and by asking them to share, and when I not just by asking them to share, but also creating creatives, and then putting everything together and sending them so that they can actually promote it without thinking, right? So that would really make your guest to share it on their social media. Okay, I was not recording video, but just publishing the podcast on YouTube through features provided by podcast host. Okay, I got that. So for that one, like I do the same with my show. Like as of now, I don't have a video thing. I have done like just the audio with a static image on YouTube, but like a lot of the videos have 20 views, 30 views, 50 views, but there is one video that has got, I think, 15,000 views, and there is another one that has got 7,000 views, right? So some of these episodes out of your maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 episodes, some of these episodes might get those kind of numbers where 10,000, 15,000, 12,000 kind of a numbers. So it's it's still good to just be there on YouTube. So yeah, I still recommend to put the thing on YouTube. Yeah, so cool. All right, so let me see the questions. The listen numbers keep fluctuating. When do you think we finally settle and we get precise analytics? So listen numbers, I think a lot of them are now are certified numbers. So IAB certified, most of the hosts are now IAB certified. So I think we shouldn't see the kind of fluctuations. But if it's more to your show where people come listen and go, that would be a different thing. But if it's more about from the platform perspective, I think a lot of platforms were integrating and getting the IAB certification. So we you would have seen fluctuations in the number as compared to earlier, but I think that should be sorted now.
Vijay, I think there are some questions in the questions tab that are
Okay.
there, and a quick reminder that we'll be wrapping up the session in another 4 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. Great. So I think I answered this question. I'm a YouTube creator where I create some nuances of English. Should I try to give general tips about English or keep the same format of teaching on my podcast? So a lot of people, say that, hey, I do create a content on YouTube. Can I do the same kind of content on the podcast? It really depends on the kind of content that we do, right? So usually, so again, I'm not generalizing the thing, but usually, the people who listen to podcasts, they, at least for myself, like when I see some episode less than 10 minutes, I'm like, I'm not going to listen to it, because especially for the, podcast, which is except fictional, right? Fiction is different thing. But if you're doing like a show, then usually like people are the consumer of the listeners are like absolutely looking at. But given that you have like a podcast about English, and with the whole tier 2 and tier 3 market opening up, a lot of people now looking at learning the English. I think you can I think even if you do like a short form of content, because these people are used to watching that content on YouTube, right? And if you can give the same kind of content on the podcast, I think that should work. But I have a point about podcast jingles. I feel the reaching out to your musician friends connection will be better than using the free music online. Yeah, absolutely. That would always be good. So Nikhil says this is not a question, but if I want to use the jingle on my podcast, is it better to reach out to musician friends than using the royalty free of music available online? So I think that would always be better, because if you do that, then that would be like a unique music that you have for your show. If you're using the royalty free music or music available online, then you will realize that someone else is also using the similar kind of thing. So yeah, so I think, yeah, great. Okay, do you think same content can work in English and regional language? So do you mean translating that the same content into different language, like doing the same content in English and regional language? Yeah, if you are translating, it depends, right? Because sometimes what happens is the content that you create, probably, let's say, for urban audience, might not work for the might not work for the tier 2, 3 cities, because they would have the different things that they want to listen to, right? So that also depends on the kind of audience that you have and the kind of content that you have. So I think it would be based on the different podcast topics. So I don't think there is be a blanket answer to that. Okay, Supriya, I use Squadcast, not Zencaster, for that. Or we need something like to our contact. So Mayur says, how are published podcasts reach out to our audience? They are distributed. I think Naga is up on the stage, but so yes, you use a media hosting services, and then you go and distribute it to all these different platforms. Hi Vijay, how many podcasts are there in India roughly? I mean, that's like that's a question that we all are asking. I don't know, but we are
Okay,
somewhere
guys,
around.
I think
Yeah.
we are almost at time.
Yes.
Vijay, thank you so much for taking time for being on our virtual summit here today. And as you can see from the number of questions that our audience has, I'm sure that they still want to talk to you. So it would be great if you could hang around with us so that people can meet you at like a speed networking event or on a virtual table where they can find you.
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Vijay. Thank you so much again.